You know, you want to create your own exercises to get to the point that you want to get to in terms of your own personal sound. So practicing for jazz is weird in that it's like you have to reverse engineer everything, meaning that if you have a particular way that you want to sound, you have to figure out how am I going to achieve that sound. Meaning this is what you want to sound like, and then what are the exercises that I can do to get me to that point. As a jazz player, you have to be able to create your own exercises. So you have to see where you're lacking, where you want to get to, and see how you can mitigate those two things. So if I listen to someone like Herbie Hancock, for example, and I'm picking this example because lately I've been, there are a few licks or phrases, his style of playing that I've really been digging, and I've been trying to incorporate it in my own playing because I realized that I wanted more of that modern-esque sound. And when I listen to a lot of modern pianists, a lot of them tend to have that Herbie Hancock influence, and so I was like, okay, let me check out a little bit of Herbie Hancock. Not just improv, but voicings as well. So here's the thing. What I mean by reverse engineering is that, let's say I'm taking a Herbie Hancock improv solo and the tune that he was playing over was Wave. Let's say I wasn't too familiar with it and I wasn't really at the point. I've played it here and there, but I've never really checked it out. But because I was working on this transcription, now I'm going to check the tune out properly. Meaning that Wave is in the key of D major, so I want to make sure that I know D major well. So what I may do is I may practice the D major bebop scale. In that way, I practice knowing the scale well, right? So that when I get to the song, I'm familiar with it. I kind of ask myself, like, how do I want to sound on the song? And if I'm playing something like Wave and I'm listening to Herbie Hancock has this beautiful way of sounding traditional, but like is super in the future kind of vibe, like is very modern, you know what I mean? In checking that kind of playing out, some of the favorite voicings that I've picked up are playing fourth voicings over major tunes. So like example, instead of voicing your normal, like, kind of root 37 with the melody, kind of like that, because Wave has the 5 on top. But if I wanted to make it more modern, I may do a fourth voicing on the major chord. And that's kind of something that I would steal by listening and transcribing. And then going back to this reverse engineering technique, I would want to take that and practice it in all 12 keys. So it's in my system, and this is how I grow as a player because I learn more ideas, right? So maybe I'd take that voicing and I move it up a fourth to G major. Maybe now I take it up a fourth to C major. Then I do F major. So this voicing is primarily shaped around fourth voicing. So you would do root third, and then upper fourth would be the 13, upper fourth would be the 9, upper fourth would be the 5, and upper third on top will be the 7. Maybe B flat major. I really like the sound of that. So now when I play Wave, when I get to those major chords, D major, it kind of gives me that more modern approach, because I do like the modern sound. I do like that contemporary jazz sound. Another voicing that really sticks out for that is being able to play fourth voicing. So like again on D, because when you look at Wave, it does kind of alternates between D major and D minor because it does have this vamp. So it has that vamp of D minor, G7, D minor, G7. And again, this is just my way of thinking, right? I'm reverse engineering that. Rather than just playing D minor, G7, this is a vamp section. I could use fourth voicings over that, because a lot of modern players also tend to add that element of adding more and more ambiguity in their sound, you know, rather than just playing what do they call it, tertian harmony. So maybe if I get to that vamp, you know, so I'll do that last chord, I'll add the 5, but because I'm trying to be more modern, and this is, I guess, kind of the thing with jazz, some things are not so straightforward. You just have to listen and apply. So you want to find the best places to put your favorite voicing. So something like a fourth voicing doesn't have to only be stuck in a song like So What. Doesn't have to be stuck there. But when you see a moment where you can create a vamp, such as the song Wave, where it does D, G7, I'll put a fourth voicing there, because those fourth voicings are kind of based off of -6 pentatonic. So they do hint at both D minor and G7. And then maybe I'll land the 5 in there. So these are the little sort of techniques that I would use to reverse engineer and say, okay, maybe I should be practicing these voicings in all 12 keys in order to get to the sound that I want to get at. And so you might take these voicings, maybe I go down a tone, B flat minor, A flat minor, F sharp, E, back to D minor. So you want to know them, you know, you want to create your own exercises to get to the point that you want to get to in terms of your own personal sound. He was doing quite a lot of tension work in his right hand. You know, lots of crunchy. So pretty much at this point, you know, I would transcribe lines, and this video is meant to be a sort of realistic peek into how I practice, right? I even have these books. These are kind of old right now, but these books, I buy them at a shop called Typo. It's I'm not sure if it's an international shop, but kind of popular here in South Africa for having kind of like cute little things. So I buy these booklets, right? I literally have so many practice ideas, you know, that I would just write down of things that I wanted to check out, stuff that I wanted to check out. And most of these books are full. It's not only practice stuff, right? Some of my postgraduate work is also in here, but I would keep a book throughout the years, throughout, you know, practicing, playing, gigging and all of that. I would have these booklets of everything that I would work on, such as you see in the video, the voicings, the phrasing, and I would write it down. And in essence, what I learned over the years is that jazz is not so much about, you know, what you should be doing per se, but it's more about what you want to say in the style. And so however it is you want to sound like, you have to build that type of language, that type of stylistic language, while also placing your own creativity. And the only way to do that is to check out the things that interest you. If you have to write them down, you write them down, you create exercises out of them, and you integrate them into your playing, which is exactly what I'm doing in this video. When I say in the video, I spoke about the fact that I really am into kind of like that contemporary, present day, kind of modern jazz playing. And by doing so, I check out those players, right? And check out those that they look at. And I'm like, okay, you know, they tend to kind of like, you know, Mal Grumella also tends to kind of like that fourth voicing, open structure kind of comping. And so I would incorporate more of that type of voicing, seeing how I can use, you know, those minor fourth voicings as well, as you had seen in the video, seeing how I can implement those in a modern context, and then also checking out Herbie Hancock lines that are really like super filled with tensions and, you know, things that I really wouldn't even think of as it relates to how I play right now. Anyway, I would write that down and I would take little sections of those phrases and create exercises out of them and work on them. So this is pretty much what I do and how I've been practicing for many years, and really it's the one thing that has really worked for me. And I find that practice is not a complicated situation. It's about taking the things that you're working on and getting better at them. You know, the same way how they say at the gym, oh, you should stick to 4 or 5 exercises and just progressively overload, you know what they say? I think it's the same for practice. Quit finding the next YouTube video, the next, you know, teacher to get to the next level. Not saying that those things are not helpful, but I think just the mindset of always feeling like you need to know more, and try to get better or master the things that you already know. I think that's where the magic is, because the things that you already know and that you kind of like started to dabble into are most likely things that you really like. Same way as you have seen in this video, I'm taking things that interest me, you know, because you only have one life to live. So do the stuff that you enjoy and you will get to, you know, sounding the way that you want to sound in the style of jazz music. Otherwise, if you really liked some of those voicings that I was working on in the video, you can also check out the exercises in the description if you're interested in that. I've already created exercises for myself. I've created practicing the major chord voicings, and I will have all of these notated in case you're interested in this as well. Playing major chord voicings with that 4th style interval. You know, you can end it on the 5th or you can add the 7th on top. Then my second one was practicing 4th voicings. I will also have that written up. So those exercises will also be nicely written out for you. But the real point I'm trying to make is that if you have a particular way of playing that you're interested in, you have to kind of navigate. This is what I do and this is what helped me progress. You kind of have to navigate what are the steps to getting there. And once you've figured that out, you go into transcribe, you know, those points of interest, and then you create exercises for yourself, and then you try to master those exercises, and it's impossible not to start to sound more like what you want to sound like.